Welcome back to the News Hub. I'm Wendy Bounds. The predictable and the unpredictable shaking up gymnastics at the Olympics. You're looking at the men's team in China who just took the gold in gymnastics. Stu Wu, he's a lucky guy. He's over in London. We're going to talk to him right now about what happened. Tell us, Stu, how did it unfold in the men's gymnastics? That was the predictable part. We thought China was going to take it.
Yeah, it was one of the most unpredictable events that I think a lot of gymnastics sports have seen in a really long time. The only thing that was predictable was that the Chinese team would successfully defend its gold. And we had a huge surprise ending. Britain thought it had won the silver medal after the final event. It would have been its first, they hadn't even qualified for a men's team final since 1924.
Wow.
But what happened was that after the final event, Japan appealed a score, and superstar Kohei Uchimura appeared to stumble on his dismount in the event. But what happened was that Japan appealed that score. Everybody in the arena waited for 5 tense minutes, and then a new score popped up on the screen. They added 0.5 points to Japan's total. They had won silver. They had bounced Britain to third. And even worse, the Ukrainians dropped out of the medal standings to fourth.
Stu, how did Great Britain react when this happened? I mean, on the one hand, they're happy to get just a medal in general. On the other hand, you're thinking you're going to get the silver. Somebody tells you you're getting the bronze. What happened? How did they react?
When the new scores were announced, the crowd booed. They were not happy about it. They thought they had taken the surprise silver. But when you talk to the gymnasts, again, this is a team that did not have history on its side. It hadn't qualified for a final in nearly 100 years. The team members were thrilled. They were very happy. The Ukrainians, on the other hand, not so much. When the new score popped up on the scoreboard, they just stood there, their arms akimbo. They couldn't believe it. And the coach afterwards says there's going to be some explaining that the judges have to do.
Wow, and the U.S., of course, not taking any medal there. But let's shift over to women's gymnastics here. I mean, more unpredictable. I mean, everybody's getting hurt. What's going on?
A lot of people might chalk it up to this new scoring system. Starting about 6 years ago, gymnastics ditched the old 10.0 system, which confuses the hell out of normal fans. But also, what they did was that 10.0 score capped the score at 10 points. Now what you have is an open-ended system that encourages gymnasts to keep on making their routines harder, because the more difficult it is, the more points you get. So some gymnasts think that it's causing a lot of people to overtrain, to try harder things that they might not be ready for, and as a result, more injuries.
I can imagine, Stu, that this is trickling down. This isn't just hurting the people at the Olympics, but it could have a trickle-down effect to young people training in gymnastics centers across the country. Is that happening? And is there any talk of a push to change this scoring system to reduce the injury impact?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Wendy. I talked to Janelle Memel, who's the mother of gymnast Chelsea Memel, who won silver in Beijing. She runs a gym outside Milwaukee, and she says it's definitely trickling down to the club level. All these girls, they want to make it. They want to make the elite level of gymnastics. So what they do is they try harder, they overtrain. Chelsea, who won a silver in 2008, says that she herself, when she was, a decade ago, she's 24 now. A decade ago, she was only doing 2 release moves on the high bar. Now she's doing 5. So everybody, it's getting harder for everybody. And to answer your second question, yes, the president of the International Gymnastics Federation says that, it's time to review the code. We might need changes. He suggests that injuries were part of the problem. And another big part of it is that it takes away some of the artistry when gymnasts are trying to cram in more and more athletic moves.
Very quickly, Stu, how does that change the temperament of the crowd when people are getting hurt left and right like that?
It's hard to say. I don't think it's an issue within gymnastics. I don't think people outside gymnastics know. People who watch Olympics every 4 years don't really know that. But where you do see the problem is that a lot of stars, like Chelsea Memel, don't make the team. And Shawn Johnson, of course, got hurt. She got hurt for skiing. That's a different thing. But you have a lot of famous gymnasts who aren't competing now because of injuries. So I think that's where the average fan will notice the difference.